everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. Before I get started, I have a couple of announcements for you because we've started a new month. We've started this last month of 2020, but with that, of course, you know, how can we scathe through the last month of 2020 without another 2020 event occurring, right? So I haven't put up my January classes, and I haven't even put up my winter retreat, which will be all online this year because 2020, 2021, because Stampin' Up! Has had, well, the US has had a shipping delay. And word on the street is that one of our shipping containers was hit by a weather event and the whole container was drowned, and the dies that were in that container were ruined. So a lot of the dies that are part of this mini catalog, we cannot order yet because they're ruined. So I don't know if you've ever, I know I've had several friends that have had dies get wet and they rust if they're left in water because they're metal. So we are waiting to hear back from when we can expect to be able to order a lot of the dies. So I did place a pre-order, and luckily for all of you, my very first class is all paper and all embellishments, and all of that stuff is fine. The paper and all of that, you know, is made in the US, so that's all fine. So first class, you will definitely want to do my try it class because that's all fine, and I'm going to start being able to start showing you that in the next couple of days because my stuff will be here tomorrow. I'm not going to do an unboxing, partly because I won't have all of the sweet things to show you, and partly because I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I have camp this week and it just didn't work, and my daughter wasn't going to be here to do it with me. So over the next few days, I will be showing you all of the things that will be part of my try it class. That's 10 cards. It will still be able to get to you. I don't remember the date. It's towards the start of January. It's filling quickly, so there's not a whole lot of spots left. And now that I'm unsure when my very first other class will be in January, you'll want to get on that if you want to do some stamping. So I will also have these tomorrow. So I will hope to have them into the mail to you towards the end of this week if you have purchased from me since June. So you need to look up your last order and make sure it was from me, because if you purchased from another demonstrator, then she'll be mailing you the catalog. So if you want one from me, then you need to hop on over to my website and place an order before Friday, because that's when they'll be going out, and that's where I get my addresses from. So if you've taken just classes from me, then those addresses aren't in my address form. That way you need to place an actual order, because a lot of demonstrators take classes, and I don't. Stampin' Up! Already sends them those, and it's expensive, both the postage and I pay for the catalogs. So I don't want to do that twice if you're a demonstrator. So today's card is super fun. I'm going to use Fireside Trimmings. You can also go, I have 2 December classes that are fun, and all of that's been updated on my class page on my website, and I'll put a link down below this video for that. But today I'm going to use Fireside Trimmings. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. Ever since this catalog came out, I'm using the holiday catalog, and we do get the retiring list for it, I think, next week. But ever since it came out, I told you that one of the things I most appreciated from this paper was that once a season was over, you would still be able to use it. So we're going to use the Halloween paper to make a New Year's card, because so many of our papers this year, the design on one side was the holiday, and then it's a nice neutral design on the other. So we're going to make a New Year's card with Fireside Trimmings. So we're going to use the fireplace because, you know, that's what the stamp set is. So we're going to do some quick coloring. I just moved to my scrap paper when I moved to my catalogs. So stamp this in Memento. And these have the dies in this, they didn't get their just placement in the catalog. So make sure you take a second look before I start working on some of my other things. And this is going to actually be a camp project. On Friday, I've been having in-person camps. They've been smaller. No new people have been allowed. So you had to already be one of my people to be able to get to come. But we're going to be revisiting some of my favorites. We're going to do the waxed ornament. So I will do a video on how to make the waxed ornaments once I get that set up. just a little bit of stamping for this card. We're going to mix it up with some, it's kind of a mishmash of a whole lot of different things. So we're going to color it with some blends. We have the base of our fireplace is just going to be some smoky slate and gray granite. So let's start with the darker. So this is the dark smoky slate. And I'm just gonna, this doesn't have to be any super kind of fancy coloring, but everywhere where the kind of the shadows are gonna hit it. And I did do a Halloween card with this, and I don't want my New Year's fireplace to look spooky. So with that, I barely did any coloring. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of the dark for some shading. I might go back and touch it again in a minute. And then this is the dark gray granite. Kind of hit these other places. I'm not going right up to the edge, because you know, a fireplace that has a little bit of, I'm actually not putting logs in this. If you saw the little preview picture, because you know, sometimes if you have a party in your house on New Year's, it's a little hot. But I like the two different grades to kind of give that some two-tone. And then I'm going to take the brush tip of my light gray granite and just kind of blend all this. So it has that nice cement feel. And I'm not doing any overly blending technique. I'm just really kind of just giving it kind of that stone fireplace look. So, you know, stone comes in all different smudginesses of grays, so I'm okay if it looks like that. And this way, if you're making several, like if you want to make 5 or 6 New Year's cards, this isn't going to take you a long time. So when you color with this tip, you want to just be careful that you're not smashing it, and always color with it kind of sideways. So now we just have some shading. It's kind of fun, it's kind of light, and I'm going to go back one more time with the dark and just kind of get some of the edges. And again, if you haven't worked with blends a lot, don't go right to the edge because it will blend out. So if you color up to the edge and let it bleed, then it bleeds to the edge. So there we go. Just a little bit of shading. This is a really fast card to color. Now we're going to color our clock to stand in for Father Time. So I'm going to take the light So Saffron and just give a little bit of clock face there, and then just a dot of this into our candles. And then I have the dark mango, but you could use the saffron. I just pulled another yellow and just literally taking a tip to the middle of the flame. And then this is light crumb cake. And again, I'm going to use my brush tip because I want light color. And if you just kind of brush it on with the brush, then it doesn't have time for as much ink to soak in. So have those. And then our clock is going to be cinnamon. And again, with this one, you have to be careful because it bleeds. So I'm doing just inside the border with the dark. And then again, just a dot in those little tops. You can see it already bleeding into the center, and I didn't want it to bleed out. So this way it's bleeding in, and then I'm going to take the brush tip. Again, because you can brush faster than what that little bullet tip will brush. I just kind of wanted a 60s looking retro clock. There we go. So that's all the coloring. And now that we're done, I'm going to stamp the From Our Home to Yours on here, but I want that to dry because sometimes if you stamp over the top of a blend, it can bleed. So we'll wait till after we've cut that all out. Now I have some brass foil, and I have our adhesive sheets. So just pull off the one side of the adhesive sheet. And these are fabulous if you don't have these. I know if you watched me on the sale day, this was one of the things I recommended that you get, because they just make life so much easier when you're using tiny dies. So now we've made this into a sticker. So let's get everything cut and embossed. And tomorrow I will have my mini cut and emboss machine, which I could have used on this if I'd had it, which will be nice when I do videos when everything will fit. This wouldn't have fit, I guess. So this is from the In Good Taste, and it's just going to add a little bit of kind of wallpaper texture since we're using a fireplace. You wouldn't have to, but I just, you know, if you have it, use it. It just textures that right up. Kind of gives it the 60s living room vibe, which is what I'm kind of going for. We're getting out of the 2020s for right now. We're moving on to a different century for the moment. So let's take this, and then I have the Word Wishes dies, which gives us a nice New Year's and a happy. This set I will never part with, I don't think, because it has all the words. So it's sometimes like this fireplace set is perfect for a New Year's card, but it doesn't have New Year's words. But if you have Word Wishes, you have all the words. You have all the occasions, and you can just add them. And then these little banners do come in the fireplace. And you do need to get both tips on there. Make sure, I know my adhesives didn't go all the way to the edge. Make sure that's in the middle. And then I'm going to run this one back and forth because I don't have the Stampin' Up! Dies. I still have when the Word Wishes were made by Sizzix, and sometimes the middle of my New Year's doesn't cut. That time I got it. You can see the happy cuts perfectly. The Stampin' Up! Ones are so much better than the old ones used to be. Okay, so now I'm going to cut my fireplace and my candles, which there's only one candle die, so I'm going to have to run these through twice. So I will cut these out, and then I'll fast forward that part of the video because this is just cutting dies, and you guys have seen that, but there is also a clock. Okay, so I've just run all these things through. Now we just have to put this together. So I am going to start by putting my fireplace on here after I stamp the words. Let's get my black pad back again. And if I didn't have a photopolymer set where I could see this, then I would make sure I did this in my Stamparatus. Because now that you've taken the time to color and to cut this out, you want to make sure that it lines up perfectly. And that you stamp it perfectly, which in your Stamparatus, you would be able to go back and re-stamp that. But because the card is black, there was no place else for me to put it, and I didn't want to put any other little banner because there's already a lot going on this card. So let's stick our fireplace on because we're kind of building up on this card. Let's put this here. Let's add our little clock to the mantle. I really wish the clock said it was midnight, but you know, you work with the images you got. Okay, now with these little candles, so here's the thing. My thank you gift for December are the snips. So with a $75 purchase, and I have 2 host codes for this month. So this one goes through, just before Christmas. I don't remember the date. So use the host code and purchase $75 or more, and you get a free pair of snips, and that's a $10 value, and that'll come with your thank you card. And then the members of my team in January will be working towards earning one of these fun little snip holders. So if you're interested in joining my team in January and February during celebration, we have a ton of good deals, but the best is the starter kit, and then you could get one of these too. But the dies cut, you can see they cut the candles well until you lay them on here, and I just felt like that one's pretty good. On my other ones, a couple of times, you know how they just go over a smidge, so I just cut those off. And it just kind of helped them sit next to each other. And it didn't need a lot. Like that one's perfect. You know, sometimes they're just on these tiny little ones. You don't notice it if I was putting it on a white piece of paper, but because I'm putting them in my fireplace. So just kind of layer the 4 candles. Plus when you cut the bottom off, it makes them all be a little bit different height. It's like I can trim this bottom off a little bit more, and then all your candles aren't like exactly the same. Because you know, candles burn it at different times and different heights. So that one's a little bit smaller, and then we got this other one. This one cut pretty good too. So now we've got those in there. Now let's take these out of. The other thing when you use the sticker sheets, the adhesive sheets, is it makes it, they pop out a little bit easier. And make sure you go to my website and look at these because it has such cute little stitching on these tiny little banners. So super cute. I didn't pull that off. I thought I got it. There we go. So just pull that off. And then instead of having to mess with any kind of glue or any kind of adhesive to get these to stick, you just put them where you want. And as long as you don't press down until you've got them where you want, you can move them. Perfect. And then we're gonna work from the bottom up. So I need the New Year's, which I told you sometimes mine can stick. The new ones don't do this, but I hate to buy another new die set when I already have one. So just pop this out. Go. And when you're working with the brass, especially, you don't want to hit it too hard. So as soon as you have a piece of it up, which that's just the sticker, no, I got it. Just pull it gently out. Because if you poke it with your poker, then it's going to have dots on it. So just pull these out. And mine's just sticky. Yours won't be like this if you have a new one, I promise. And my happy's not like this. For some reason, it's just the New Year's. So get the new. Isn't that nice the way it just sticks on there? And I'll get this one. And again, you just, as soon as you get one piece of it raised up, the rest of it just pulls out. So get that Y out. And I think mine's a little bit worse because it's combination of the brass and the sticky. But you saw my happy one. It's already out, which is how all the rest of my words do for whatever reason. It's just because it's 2020. One last reminder that we're moving into a new year. And there is an apostrophe. I have enough going on in this card that I don't think I need it. If you want to save the apostrophe, it does fall out as well. You know, my sticker didn't pull up. There we go. So there's the New Year's. And then here's my happy. I didn't even have to, it just popped out. You do want to make sure that you get all of the middles of your words. Okay, now this, I'm going to admit, on my first one, I did a little bit of overkill. So on this one, I'm going to try to restrain myself. Let's go ahead and mount it on the card. Because I used the sequins that are out of the holiday catalog. And I put the glue on before I had them over here, and they were a little bit larger in real life than what I remembered them being, because it's been a minute since I've used them. So just take your fine tip glue, and then I used these lines that are on the paper, kind of like a guide, just to add, kind of like if they were sequins falling down, you know, when the ball drops. So this time I'm going to do many, many less than I did the first time. And I'm a more is more person. I just think it's a little bit overkill. So you can look at my first card and you can decide if you want overkill or if you want less. So we're just going to add a few drops of this. See, I can't stop. We'll do that many. So here's the sequins. And the fun thing is both of these colors match the card really well. I thought just these were gonna match, but then as I started working with them, I realized both do. So just take a few, they come in different shapes and different colors, and just drop them onto the glue. And I realized I could use my Take Your Pick tool, the sticky end. And several of you have reminded me that I can, except for the fact that my Muji end is out. The little sticky end is gone. I did order some when we had our sale, so that order's not here. It's one of those things that I kept thinking I need to order when I go to use it, and then I put an order in and I would just totally forget that it was out, and then I'd go to need it and I'm like, oh, I need to order one of those. So I have a couple things like that I forget to order. So if you have your Take Your Pick in, then you could use that. This works well enough, especially because I can kind of control which colors I'm getting this way. So just drop them on. And you can see how both the colors work of the gold, and because I think this is really the orange yellow bucket, but because it's ending up on the black paper, it kind of mutes it. Two more, so let's go this one. And then I think a couple more of the silver. Mine have also gotten mixed up over time because, you know, we're towards the end of the catalog here, and this is my second bucket of them. And so I've used a lot and mixed a lot. Little touch, that's how they get mixed, is me doing that. Probably if you're more careful at your house, they don't do that. But when I'm on a video, I'm like trying to get them off my hand. So there's that. And then I had one last little touch because, you know, it's sparkly and shiny because it's New Year. So I took my Wink of Stella and then I just brushed it on my candles just to kind of liven them up so they don't get lost in the sequins. And then I did the same thing to my clock, kind of just to brighten it up a little bit as the sequins are falling. So here's this one. Nice and bright. And then if you want to go overboard with your sequins, it's not as bad as I thought at first. It just kind of distracts from the Happy New Year. But it definitely looks like it's a party. So there you go. If you would like to make sure that you have a catalog, just hop over to my website. The address that you hit this Shop Now banner at the top of my page. I have a little walkthrough that helps you make sure you're on my website at the top of all of my blog posts, at least my recent ones. Here, let's do it this way so you see the less is more on top. And again, my Try It class, which will be 10 cards. You'll use all of the new papers in the mini catalog, and then I'll try to fit in most of the Sale-a-bration papers. You'll get new punches. You'll get cards with some new dies. There's no new stamps. You provide your own stamps, mostly just sentiments. You'll get all the new ribbons. So every card will have a template. It's a great fun class. So that is open for registration and it is filling quickly. So everybody have a great day, and I'll catch you back later with some new catalog stuff. Bye.